Hello, and welcome to the Building an App video module, which is a part of the 7 Bridges onboarding lesson. In this video, you will learn all about creating or customizing your own app on the platform. While watching this video, please keep in mind 2 key concepts. CWL is a way to describe command line tools and connect them together to create workflows. Apps are written in CWL and consist of inputs, steps, and outputs. At the end of the video, you will be able to create a simple app that links together inputs, steps, and outputs, and edit the tool after it's been created. Because CWL is a specification and not a specific piece of software, tools and workflows described using CWL are portable across a variety of platforms that support the CWL standard. Steps can consist of command line tools, expression tools, or sub-workflows. This makes the app compatible with JavaScript, R, Python, and more. In the demonstration today, we will be doing 2 things. 1, create a simple tool and save it. And 2, edit the tool after it's been created. Today, we're going to build a simple app together on the CGC platform. First, we'll need to start by going to cgc.sbgenomics.com. Once you're logged in and in a project space, we'll navigate to the Apps section along the top banner. To create a new app, we'll select the button on the top right corner, Create App. From here, we're given 2 options. We can either create a workflow, which strings together a series of apps, or we can create a command line tool. We're going to select the latter, create a command line tool. Let's give this tool a name. It can be anything, but it helps if the name is descriptive. I'll be showing you a simple tar tool, so let's call this one tar extract. Once we've named our tool, you'll be taken to a new screen, our app editor. There are 3 tabs along the top of the page: App Info, Visual Editor, and Code. We'll check those out toward the end. For now, let's focus on just the Visual Editor. The first thing you'll see is a section for a Docker image. Docker is an open source containerization technology based on Linux that allows developers to write, operate, and bundle programs. Basically, it's a package that contains everything the application needs to run. For our tar tool, we'll need Linux, so I'm going to use an Ubuntu Docker image. To learn more about how to utilize Docker containers, or if you have any questions, you can reach out to our support team or visit us in office hours. I'll include the information in the description of this video. Our Docker repository will be using an Ubuntu image. Now the next section asks for a base command. Luckily, our example is quite simple. We're just going to be using tar. So I'm going to click on Add Base Command and type in tar. The Argument tab allows us to modify our base command with any additional commands. I'm going to click on Add an Argument, and here I'll be using zxvf in the value space. So the Z means the file was compressed using gzip, X means we're going to be extracting the file, V is optional, but it can be helpful when troubleshooting, and F allows us to specify the file name, which will be taken from the original file we're operating on. Once we've done the hard part, we just need to specify an input and an output port. Click Add an Input to specify what the app should expect to operate on. So in our case, it'll be a file. You can give the input any name you want by modifying the ID. I'm just going to leave this one as input. Next, we'll specify an output. Again, we're expecting to get a new file as an output. Here, I like to set the globe as an asterisk. This means we'll capture all generated files as outputs. You can be really specific here if you're only looking for a certain type, though. If we keep scrolling, we'll see additional options. I like to add a hint, and from here I select SBG Save Logs. So this will save any error logs or just logs in general while we run the app. This is really useful for troubleshooting. And for more complicated apps, we can include additional files like an R script or maybe something in Python, or specify environmental variables. Once we're ready, we can click Save. I like to add notes to myself so I can follow my progress along the way. Now that we've saved our app, let's scroll back up and check out the other tabs. In the App Info tab, we're able to give the app a description and describe some of the characteristics of the app by assigning it to a category or listing authors and licenses. So I'm going to edit the description here. And click Save. If you scroll down, you'll also see some of the settings that we've assigned. So here we have the input, some of our app settings which we have not assigned, and outputs. The visual editor you're now familiar with. It's where we built the app. And lastly, we have our code tab. This is useful for people who want to write their app directly in CWL or Common Workflow Language. Luckily, all this code is auto-generated as we build the app using the visual editor, but it's still there as an option. Once we're ready to test our app, we'll click Run. Here you'll be taken to a new task page. You'll have the option to select a file for input, and then you'll click Run. So let's find a file to input. Remember, this is a tar extract app, so let's search our public files for something that is archived. So I'm going to be searching here for .tar.gz. And because I'm testing this, I'm just going to use a small file. This one is only 115 megabytes. I'm going to save selection, copy this into my project, and I should be ready to click Run. You'll see that this app is queued, but once it initializes an instance, it will run for us. Wait a few moments and head back to our task page. We can see that the status is now complete. We can click on the task name to get more details. So here's the original file that we input. There were no app settings to modify, and 2 files were output, both of them FASTQ. You'll see that it took a total of 2 minutes and cost 2 cents. If you'd like additional information, you can always click on View Stats and Logs. From here, you can see the progress as this app was running. So you can click on tar extract, which is the name of our app, and see that the first section was taking in the input file. This purple line represents initializing of the Docker image. The green here is the actual app running, and then this represents creating the output. Again, you can click on any of these and click View Logs to learn more. Here you'll see a job error log, command log. You can feel free to explore. Next, I'll show you how to edit an already created app. For our next lesson, we're going to modify or edit an already existing app. In this example, I have created a tool that generates PCA plots using R. It's called PCA Tool. Let's take a look at it. I'm going to click Run to show you what this app looks like. Here we have an option to input a dataset. There are no app settings, and we can expect some type of output report generated from this app. I'm going to show you what it looks like in the visual editor. So let's go back to the apps, click PCA Tool, and then we're going to click Edit. Taking a closer look using our visual tool editor, you can see that here we're using a Docker image called Verse, which is hosted on the Rocker website. The reason I chose this image is because it allows me to write out a report using R. Next, let's look at the base command. You'll see the base command is just RScript. It's telling the app that we want to run output report.r. You can see the full command at the very bottom here. So it's saying RScript, and then it's telling the app to run output report.r. We have no arguments in this app, but we do specify the input as a CSV file. The ID here is labeled input_CSV, and it's a file type. The output is also specified. So here is a file that will capture anything generated as either an HTML or a PDF. We've specified hints to save the logs of anything in R as well, if you scroll down. So under hints here, we have save logs, and then *.r, so anything generated in R. And then lastly, you can see that we have 3 file requirements. Since we're running output_report.r, let's look at that one first. So you can click on this arrow to expand, and you can see that it's just a few lines, and it says that we are going to render script.r using input.r as a source. So we can take a look at script.r. So this is the script that contains the PCA instructions. It's a typical R script. And then input.r specifies the selected input file and connects it to our R script. I'm not going to go into too much detail here since it's a bit of JavaScript, but if you do have questions, feel free to please reach out to us or visit our office hours. Again, the link will be provided in the video description. Okay, we're going to modify this app today by adding an additional input. We're going to call it report type. To do this, we'll click on Add an Input under the Input Ports section. And this will open up our side panel. So I'm going to change the ID to report_type. And then for the type, we'll specify that it's enum. So this means that the user of the app can only choose from the options that we're going to be specifying below. So we'll specify those under the symbols section here. We want the user to select a report type, and we are going to either give them the option of a PDF document, so I'll specify PDF document, or HTML document. Again, I'm just typing HTML document to specify. Okay, so now that we've added this as an option, let's save. And make sure you add a note to yourself. So added report type as input. And then click save. Once we're ready, let's hit run. And we'll be taken again to a task page. So again, you can see the option for selecting a data set here. But now we have an additional app setting that wasn't there before. The user can choose whether they want a PDF document or an HTML document to be generated. And whichever one the user chooses will be the output once we click Run. This was just a quick example to give you an idea for how to edit an app. You can make apps as complicated or as simple as you'd like. If at any point you'd like to run a previous version of an app, so let's click on this PCA tool again, and let's say you want to run the original version. You can click on the revision and go to the original here. So created an app, and this will remove the app setting. So again, I'm going to go to the newer revision to show you that we'll have this additional app setting here called report type. And then if we go to the original revision, there is no app setting. So feel free to reach out to support if you have any questions at all, or visit us during office hours and we'll be happy to help you out. Now that we've completed a demo, here are some key takeaways. The first is that CWL is a platform-agnostic workflow language that will help you create apps and workflows using Python or R, JavaScript expressions, and more. Second, after creating your tool, it's easy to edit and make changes. The next video in our module list is Publishing Your Tool or Workflow.